Oh, I need my top hat. I have a real dilemma. I can't find my top hat. I feel like this review will not be legitimate without it. I gotta record something else. This is what it is. I gotta record something else. Much better. Kind of feels very anticlimactic to me because I cannot tell you how much time I spent trying to find this, and now I don't know. Do I leave it on? Who can tell? But what I can tell you is the premise of Furnace. You are an industrious capitalist who's ready to turn coal into money. The person with the most money at the end of 4 rounds wins. You're going to be strategically bidding upon infrastructure, buildings to add to your empire. But because this is, the industrial age, even if you lose your bid, you get a kickback from the government in the form of resources. So sometimes you want to win your bids and sometimes you want to lose your bids. Adding buildings to your machine so that you can pump out the most money, because whoever has the most money wins. Just like society, you're a winner if you have more than an entire country's wealth in your bank accounts just sitting there. You're a winner. You're a real winner. Premise aside, this is a very, very solid auction game, engine building, bidding, and auction style game. It's very slick, has really great production value by Arcane Wonders, and I'm also going to be talking about the Furnace Interbellum expansion, which is very easy to incorporate, adds a couple extra twists, helps make it a little bit crunchier for all you crunchy gamers out there. Both cases, they're great games. If you just want me to tell you what to think, I have. But otherwise, let me show you how it plays. Now, in the base game, you get this cardboard area to designate where you're going to place the row of cards. Arcane Wonders also sent me the Furnace Playmat, which I'm going to use, and I'll talk about a little bit later. I think this is a great representation, a lovely way to visualize the game, and that's why we are going to use it. Also, it's very nice, and it fits in the box. But we'll talk about that a bit later. In Furnace, everybody starts with one basic building. I have a couple expansion buildings in here. With one basic building to start your engine and one character. These characters are great. They give you special abilities that you can use throughout the game. Like this one, once per production phase, you may spend 2 coal to resolve one of your cards again. What does that mean? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. Everybody starts with a building and a person. Easy. Then a bunch of buildings are going to pop up depending upon the player count. You can see I have this now set up for a 6-player game. Oh, now it's a 3 to 4 player game. Now it's officially a 4-player game. And you know what? Now it's a 5-player game if you're using the Interbellum expansion. Furnace plays from 1 to 4 players, but with Interbellum, it can also play up to that 5th player. Everybody's also going to have a color and these 4 discs. Now, these discs are your bidding power. On your turn in this first half of the game, you're going to take one of your discs and you're going to plop it on a card. Then somebody else will take their disc, plop it on a card, so forth and so forth, because this is a 4-player game, right? The key to this bidding is that no card can hold 2 of the same number or 2 of the same color. You can't overbid yourself. Whichever card has the highest number at the end of the round, once everybody has placed all of their numbers out there, let's just do so randomly, they will win that card. So in this instance, yellow would win this card because yellow has contributed a 4. However, this is the key part of the game and what makes it very exciting. Black didn't even want to win this card in the first place. In fact, it was yellow who placed their 4 there first, and black decided to place their 2 because anyone who loses gets a little extra benefit. So in the instance of black, black is able to turn 2 coal into 1 oil barrel, and black can do that twice. Yellow gets the card, so it goes in front of them and it starts to create an extra additional part of their engine, but black also gets to do that as compensation. So even here, red would win the card, but white would get 4 pieces of iron, or coal. 4 pieces of coal. And you go along activating it from left to right, creating conversions or just getting resources, and then adding cards to your tableau. Now, once all that is done, then you can address your tableau where you can activate each card once, You can activate these cards in any order. You don't have to go left to right, but once you start activating a card, you can't return to it. You can't activate cards in between. Now, cards are sort of comprised in the top section, that's the compensation, that's what you get for bidding. And in the bottom sections, the stuff that is colored, that is what you can activate. The stuff that is sort of grayed out indicates what's on the back of the card, because you can also upgrade every single one of these cards to potentially produce additional stuff. So here you would have access to getting rid of a coal and an iron for 4 money, and you could do that up to 3 times. Let's say all of our cards were upgraded by this action. This shows an example of why you can't pass back and forth between these 2 cards. You can't get these 2 coal, then move over here to turn the coal into an oil, and then come back to exchange oil for money. You have to be able to create your engine in a little bit of a different manner than that. And everybody can do this simultaneously. This is what keeps the game really quick, because the bidding phase, everyone is interacting with each other, and then you just sit and you run your engine. It's not one of those games where you really have to check other people's work. I mean, I guess you could, but for me, I've never had an issue with people cheating or taking too much money. It's the type of game where you want to run it simultaneously, because if I had to watch everybody go through their engine all the time, I might enjoy that, but I know a lot of other people around the table might not. Then once that round is over, well, you take this thing and you turn it to its next little spot to indicate that it's round number 2. You can slot it in there if you are having trouble keeping track of the rounds. Your discs are already collected at this point. You sort of untap your cards, a new row of cards is dealt out, and you're ready to go again. That's the flow of Furnace. The beauty of Furnace really lies in this bidding aspect. Running the engines are fun. It's really, really fun to run your engine. Sure, it's nice, things chain together well. Everybody is looking to eke out those extra resources. But the real beauty and the excitement of this game absolutely comes from this row of cards and from the bidding aspect of it. Again, the asymmetric powers are also solid. They give a little twist to it, a really nice twist. But the best feeling is figuring out how to take advantage of these cards, how to identify which of these cards people might be going for, holding back your bids so that when somebody drops their 4 down, you can slip your 3 in just beautifully and capitalize on the top portion. That's what's really exciting about the base game. Really adds a lot to it, and the base game in itself is really quite solid. Interbellum adds in just a few extra modules that you can incorporate, all of which are very easy to incorporate with new players. You get a few additional capitalists, so you can incorporate them into the game. You get a few extra starting buildings that you can also incorporate into the game. You get a whole whack load of new buildings that you can incorporate that honestly incorporating in the balanced fashion is way too annoying to set up for what this game is, that you probably are just going to shuffle and take out a chunk of cards. I haven't been listening to the balance of these things. I haven't really noticed a difference they suggest taking out a certain number of base game cards and sorting all of the other cards by their pictures and then taking only 2 of each one. It's just tedious, and I don't think there's that much of a difference personally, but it's nice that there is a way that feels as though they put a great deal of thought into the balance. So you get a whole bunch more cards. The difference indicated on these cards is a little annoying to see, to separate as well, but you'll see that that's the original symbol and that's the Interbellum symbol. The cards of Interbellum popping up, they kind of seem a little bit more exciting and a little bit more powerful. However, the best part of Interbellum is not only do you get a 5th player, which it works completely great at 5th, but you get this additional bidding disc. Now you'll see here that there's a little coal symbol, and that is because you can spend however many coal you want to increase this disc's value up to, 8, even 9, even more than that by just stacking additional coal on it. So if there is a card that you desperately need, you can say, I'm getting that card. If you've played the coal game, if you have excess coal that you're not doing anything with it, you can say, yeah, I'm getting that card. And then if somebody were to foolishly go there, this is something that I love to do. I say, yes, I'm going to spend all of my coal to double my coal. It really makes the resources free-flowing. It adds in that 5th card, it adds in that 5th player, but it gives you additional bidding options. And you can bid a 0 as well, but then, well, you don't don't get anything. So I don't know why you would do that. This is by far the best edition that Interbellum brings, but it also has another pretty fun edition, which come with these little school cards. I'm just going to put them up here for the sake of showing them off on camera, but this is where the resources generally go. Every round, you'll deal out a special ability onto the school cards. And these cards can also be bid on. They can also get compensation up top, which gives you a choice, sometimes allows you to convert things for points, and it also gives you a permanent ability that you don't have to just assign to one card. You can in fact shuffle them around depending upon your strategy. So this one, for example, it says spend an iron to upgrade this card. If you win this, you no longer have to worry about getting the upgrade tokens, which are few and far between. You can actually just get the iron and use that to activate more additional abilities. That's a really nice thing and very, very easy to incorporate. Same with the disc of the coal. Those are the two major changes to Interbellum. Also adding in a 5th player, which if you play at 5, it's a perfectly good game at 5. One thing about the player count is that this game surprisingly works really well at all player counts. This should be on my list. I need to flag this for myself. I want to make a list of honest player counts where the game plays well at all of them. And I think Furnace would really fall into that category. And surprisingly, the 2-player game is good. You wouldn't expect a 2-player game in this bidding game, or at least I certainly didn't, to be any good, but it's quite good. The trick with the 2-player game, and Interbellum also adds in a couple extra little AIs into this so that the 2-player experience, or the solo experience, I haven't played it solo, but this adds in more goals for that 2-player and that solo experience. It basically gives a little bit more of an AI than what the base game provides, which is kind of nice. But a 2-player game would follow as this. You would both have your own colors, and then you would roll this dice. And what this dice will do, I just removed this card because it's a 2-player game, so there's only 6 cards out. This will be a number between 1 and 6, and that's the spot where the dummy agent will place their disc. Now they will try and place their lowest possible disc. If, for example, there was already a 1, then the agent would place a 2 on it. They have to follow that structure and place their discs out in that fashion. And so when the game, because they start off low, as the game is progressing, you can actually really kind of cheese this system a bit, knowing that now the agent, say the agent has placed their disc out and they have a 1, you know they're going to try to place their 3 next. Let's say you're the black player and you only have this 2 left, and you really, really want this card, but you know that the agent has a 3 and it might get put down. You can safely put this down here, knowing in terms of how the agent determines their decision. Whatever dice is rolled, if it is a 3, it tries to go into the 3 spot. Cannot put a 3 there because there's a 3. It cannot put a 3 there because it's disc of the same colors there, same color, it would end up here. So knowing that 5 out of the 6 rolls are going to result in the 3 going here is a really fun way to kind of cheese that system. And you can do it in the reverse as well. Say this were the reverse, and you were thinking you really wanted that benefit, but you're not sure where this 3 is going to go. You can risk the probability, hoping that you get the benefit out of that card because it'll be integral to your engine. I've done this as well. You roll the dice as long as you don't roll the 1, because if the 1 was rolled, the 3 would go there. But if you don't roll a 1, this 3 will bump its way until it has a legal placement. And I think that's a really neat part about this game. Of course, in this instance, if a 2 was rolled, the 4 would have been placed there, right? Because the 4 could be placed there. You always place where it rolls. You go up the numbers first, and then if you can't, you move on to the next one, etc., etc. This system actually works out really, really nicely at 2 players, and surprisingly so. Like, this is a game that shouldn't work at the 2-player count on paper, and it does. And I love discovering games that really have that wide range. I probably would prefer to play it with more people. I love the competition that happens for all of the resources. I love using this special disc, which you can incorporate with less than 5 people as well. But I just love the competition, and I love finding that balance between getting the compensation and adding things to your tableau and to your engine. That makes it very exciting. All in all, this is just a really well-designed, well-produced game, even to the point where this playmat, push those up out of the way, this playmat, I really don't go in for playmats. I'm not a huge playmat fan. I don't ever get specific playmats for games because normally they don't fit in the box, and I don't see what the extra expense gets me other than what like a cardboard board could give you. But the difference between just this, between having the playmat and just having this one little thing as a way to mark the beginning of your row and a place to put your deck and keep track of the turn order, is really a really nice visual. It adds a lot, I think, to the experience, and that is a wild thing for me to say. And Interbellum, the playmat, and the base game all fit into this main furnace box, which is pretty small. It's compact. They all fit into it. Just makes it a really nice add to the game, a really nice experience. I just keep my resources in like their own little tin. I don't often throw them out. I have a bunch of organizers that I like to do to get for the resources. But even still with this game, I often take them out and put them on the spots just because it's easier for people to reach them, essentially. I feel like that's enough. I feel like you get a sense. The Coles notes, if you just jumped here and you want to know what I've been yammering on about for this whole while, well, I see you, gentle person. The Coles notes is that Furnace is great. Interbellum is an easy add. If you're familiar with board games, it's not going to be anything super complex. Even though the setup for Interbellum is finicky and dumb, I just ignore it. There's a way to do it properly, and then there's a way to like half do it, and it says both in the rulebook to its credit. It's like, yeah, you can just do it, but just know that it won't be perfectly balanced. I'm like, I don't care. I don't want it to be perfectly balanced. I'm not sorting all these cards. But it is, and I've said this a bunch throughout the video, it's the bidding, the push and pull of wanting to win bids versus lose bids that I think makes this game really shine. And so if you like bidding games, if you like auction games, if you like little engine builder games as well, but I think more on the bidding side. I think that's the feel of this game. That's more than engine building. I think it is the bidding that makes it exciting. This is a really solid recommendation. I really like Arcane Wonders. I think they do quite nice stuff. I think their games are generally pretty affordable, and this is just a super quality version of one. In terms of rating, I'm pretty high up on this one. I think it deserves a seal of distinction. I think it is an excellent game, a really solid design, plays quickly, and has a bunch of little additions that help it stand out. Like I really do like the capitalist cards. Being the capitalist that I am, the asymmetry is fun. The ability to get a little bit more asymmetry with Interbellum is also fun. I gotta give it a seal of distinction. I gotta give it a 4.5 out of 5 if we want to put it on a number grade. There are a lot of really good games out there, and this is definitely one of them. And I don't see it leaving the collection anytime soon. Ratings are so subjective, right? Ratings are so tough to lock down. But I think this one deserves to be recognized. Interbellum integrates seamlessly, and any playmat that can make me interested in a playmat, I mean, that should tell you all you need to know if you know anything about me. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful in determining if Furnace is right for you. Ask your doctor. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris George, and oh, this is really embarrassing, but I don't have a catchphrase. So I guess we can just stare awkwardly at each other in silence for the next 50 seconds. I can't do 50 seconds. I can't do 50 seconds. But I could have used this. This would have saved me so much time. See, there you go. We got the mat here that I rolled up. I rolled it up that way in order to fix the bend. I got my little container with that and the stuff. Got the cards. Easy peasy. Fits all quite nicely and beautifully into this main box. No lid lift. Really, really nice.